All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Complexity Casting presents HoN Tour Live, a Thursday show, and it's not gold. We're going into Diamond, the lower round of 4. tdM dropping here, and they're going to be playing against Lions eSports. We have an awesome match coming up today, and joining me is a pretty awesome guy, BreakyCPK in the house. Breaky, thanks for being here.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. I obviously heard about this a little bit late. I think last night even. I knew that you were interested in casting it, so I was looking forward to even watching myself. But sure enough, you asked me to be a co-cast, and I was around. I'm like, you know what? Why the hell not? I'll step in and have some fun with this cast. So looking forward to, obviously, this should be an awesome matchup here from the Diamond Division, as you put it. tdM versus Lion, man. I mean, this is really an awesome matchup, so expecting to have some fun here today.
Yeah, certainly expecting to have some fun, and we'll see just how much insight BreakyCPK has.
Yeah, I'm going to put that insight hat of mine on today. Don't expect Trout level necessarily, but I like to think I've learned a lot, especially from him, so I'll do my best.
I think
I'll
you
do
have.
my part.
I was watching some of your older casts and then some of the newer ones with Trout, and I'm like, man, BreakyCPK, he's picked up a lot from Trout. So I think you've got it, but let's get on into this one. Lions versus tdM should be absolutely fantastic. I mean, Lions, they're doing very well, consistently one of the top 8 teams in the scene. And tdM, I mean, you could definitely say that they've been #1 for a long time now, but looking vulnerable. Last weekend, dropping that series to TT Esports, going into this one, they've got something to prove.
Yeah, they definitely do. I mean, great point to bring up right there. Of course, Trademark eSports and Complexity, for that matter, both getting knocked down to the losers bracket. So that was definitely a shock. But tdM, of course, losing to TT Esports. That's why they're here. But obviously, against a very formidable opponent in Lion eSportKLUBB themselves, who definitely have had some great runs. But tdM definitely looking for some revenge. Definitely get back all the way to the grand finals, I'm sure, to try to secure what would be their 3rd straight HoN Tour cycle victory. So definitely still very possible. But Lions will be a tough team in the way. So, but it looks like, we're already underway with the picks. I'll let you start talking about the actual game here now.
All right, well, let's get on into it. The blind bans did go out. Tundra, Tempest being banned out by the Legion team. Meraxis and Tremble. Keeper of the Forest being left unbanned by both teams. Wild Soul also not making it in there. So just some kind of odd blind bans. Very strong heroes, of course, but not what we typically see. And as a result, we do see both of those jungling suicide-type heroes in the lock pool. Breaky, why don't you tell us a little bit about the lock?
Yeah, the lock pool, you got your Aluna, your Wild Soul Keeper, Parasite Legionnaire, and then, of course, the Shadowblade lock. Obviously, that's a little bit more of a probably Trollish style lock here coming up from my nuts, the captain for Trademark eSports. But, yeah, you're going to lock up 2 heroes like the Wild Soul and Keeper of the Forest over here. Obviously, you got Zai over here specifically. It was a Wild Soul definitely comes to mind when you think of Zai. And it's going to be interesting to see what first pick comes out from Lion more so. I mean, they were the ones to lock up that Aluna, but, of course, with both the Wild Soul and Keeper after that, you got to figure it's going to be one of those two. There's no way they pass up one of those 2 heroes as far as their first pick potential goes. But whoever they pick up, Trout seems to like the Wild Soul a little bit more, and especially going up against Zai, I would tend to agree, even especially here. So I expect them to pick up that Wild Soul first. Then, of course, the Keeper, and then whoever else in response coming up from tdM.
Yeah, that'll almost definitely be what happens. Those 2 are just so high up the pick priority. Let's take a look at the bans, though. Silhouette, Moon Queen, and Ophelia being banned out by Hanskin of the Lions team. Getting rid of some of those strong carries. My nuts chooses to go with Fade, Jeraziah, and Plague Rider. So getting rid of the strong Suicide, a great ganker map controller there with Fade. And then finally with the Jeraziah ban, he wasn't picked or banned for maybe a month and a half, 2 months. Before that, all the time. And like in the last 2 weeks, all the time. So he just kind of reappeared and now is super strong again.
Yeah, he seems to be one of those heroes, a couple of heroes that come to mind like that just randomly just pop in and out of the competitive scene like that. So it's kind of funny he went through that phase, but yet again, you're exactly right. I mean, it seems like he's definitely regarded as just, you need to ban that hero because he's just simply put annoying to deal with. So
strong. Let's take a look at these picks. First pick, we actually do have Pebbles coming out from the Lions team, so choosing to go aggressive right away. There's some aggression on the other side, though. Zephyr, Demented Shaman, the makings of a push strat in the works here by tdM. And as Lions sees that, they respond with Wretched Hag, Bubbles, and then even picking up a Luna there with their first lock. So not what we expected. If tdM is able to pick up Wild Soul, Keeper of the Forest here, that could be a problem.
Yeah, okay, sorry, I've been a little bit distracted. Obviously, I just sent the global message and everything. But so now looking at this is Interesting, because yeah, I'm taken back. I'm trying to think of the logic here coming out from Lion Esports Club as to why they wouldn't go. I mean, you do have a Pharaoh, Demented Shaman, Zephyr over here, so you figure something like a what could even be a DS Zephyr lane, perhaps mid. You got your Pharaoh. Maybe they intended it to be a Suicide Pharaoh, expecting not to see both those in the lock pool. But now with both of those being optional, you could run something like a short lane Pharaoh and then still pick up the Keeper Wild Soul combination, then Jungle and Suicide, one of those two. So now, obviously, my nuts the captain, he is thinking about this a lot, down to 10 seconds now. Maybe they are going to go something a little bit different here, simply put, because I caught them off guard. They're going to go with Parasite instead of the Wild Soul, actually. Again, I'm sitting here trying to exactly determine why that would be the case, but I honestly can't put my finger on it exactly, why they would choose to do that. Parasite in his own right, of course, very powerful. We see that hero blind banned a lot, but I mean, they had a chance to go Keeper and Wild Soul.
Yeah.
And they passed it up, so.
Now, they did, but that would be a very, very push-heavy lineup. You know, they would be able to push so strong, but you look at the other team here, and Lions, they have designed this team with anti-push in mind. A Luna, Wretched Hag, Bubbles, Pebbles. You get that Chucks, Shell Surf, Power Throw, Sonar Scream, and you have so much anti-push potential, so perhaps they didn't want to go all in on that kind of a strategy, instead opting to go with the Parasite, which is great against Wretched Hag and Bubbles. Able to get that silence with the face hug and just do so much damage to those squishy heroes. Well, I think it was a good addition to their lineup. In the end, though, Lions is able to pick up that Wild Soul to round out their lineup, and we'll see how they incorporate that into their lanes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could. I see the point you're making. I mean, Parasite definitely will fare very, very well against what tends to be a fairly squishy team over in the Legion side, other than the Wild Soul finish. But I mean, I guess Pebbles earlier on, kind of. But it's like I don't see that as a risk necessarily. I mean, going Wild Soul and Keeper of the Forest, yeah, sure, that means you have a lot of push, and that's not necessarily mean you're dedicated to that by any means. You got Wild Soul, tons of carry potential later on. You got Zephyr, tons of carry potential later on, mid to late game. I mean, it seemed like it would have really come together very nicely. Again, in the end, I mean, they got Parasite. It's not like it's a horrific pickup to go Parasite by any means. So just to make that clear, it's just more so I'm a little bit just, I guess even surprised, as it's pretty obvious, I'm sure. But in the end, they still have a very powerful lineup. Of course, the Suicide Keeper, you got your Jungle Parasite, who's actually down here with the boots, in the Legion jungle currently. I guess no, Zai's actually the one that plays the side, so I'm not sure if Parasite actually plans to go aggressive in here in the Legion jungle. That could be interesting.
Yeah, with that build, that certainly does seem to be the case. With the Marchers and the Mana Potions, like you had mentioned, that is typically your build for going more aggressive, but I mean, Lions, what are they going to be running here? It looks like it's going to be a short lane Wretched Hag with a Pebbles, a Luna mid, Suicide Bubbles, and then a Jungle Wild Soul. With that possibility, the Parasite against a Wild Soul might be able to get a lot of harass done and slow down Krebson's farm significantly while also applying pressure to either the mid or the bottom lane. So I really do like that choice, and Keeper of the Forest probably going to fare pretty well against this short lane Hag, as long as he's able to get decent lane position, which he's already setting himself up for with the cactuses down here. He should definitely be able to get some last hits against Wretched Hag. That base damage so high, and able to deal with the harassment using that Nature's Veil.
Yeah, you see Parasite again in that jungle, and I don't think he's been spotted yet necessarily. There's this Ward of Sight here, spotting the bottom rune coming out from the Legion team, but he's definitely in the jungle, and I guess simply put, his goal is going to be to harass this Wild Soul, who of course is jungling sure enough for the Legion team, as you see as a result of their makeup. Weren't going to really be able to run him in that Suicide role. So going to be that jungle role, and we'll see how much pressure Parasite's able to put on as a result of that. But yeah, your Keeper, Wretched Hag bottom. Could definitely see that working out fairly well for both sides. Wretched Hag especially, or excuse me, Keeper being played by Zai. Good for tdM there. The minnow matchup, we usually talk about this. Not a huge fan of seeing the Demented Shaman in that support role necessarily, but if you are going to see him support, pairing him up with something like a Zephyr is definitely
there's a big gust.
Wow.
Yeah, that healing wave did so much damage, even just a couple of auto attacks, and right there, Han's gonna have to fall back and use that health potion, because wow, that just did so much, and that's the power of the Zephyr Demented Shaman lane. As well, they're gonna have some trouble there for sure. If there's another gust healing wave that comes out, Zephyr of course doesn't have mana for it quite yet, but only about 15 seconds off of that, and then Hanskin could be in some trouble. But right now he's doing relatively well. Was able to get some CS off that tower. 4-1. Zephyr 4-2. A little bit early to really make any kind of real big calls about that lane. In the top, though, Bubbles, he's able to farm quite a bit off this tower, and he's starting to do real well against this Pharaoh.
Yeah, what are we looking at creep farm? I mean, we got Bubbles 5-0, Pharaoh 8-1, so... Yeah, Noob G playing the Pharaoh with that set. I'm sorry if you mentioned that, but that's actually very strange also.
Oh, yeah,
seeing Noob G playing the Pharaoh role. Not often you would expect that, but of course, a big reason for that, Limp, if they are going to pick up Zephyr, Limp is no doubt their Zephyr player. So that's why they're kind of running that situation there. But again, going to that lock pool is going to be interesting to see how it played out, and sure enough, it was here. Specifically on the case of Trademark eSports. But also, as expected, Parasite is doing his best to kind of harass this Wild Soul. You do see the level advantage. Wild Soul is 2 levels lower than this Parasite right here. Granted, Wild Soul's farm, you know, he has been able to get some decent creep kills, but he's been spending a lot of time at that yellow camp, so probably even skewed a little bit because of that. So it seems like MyNuts is actually accomplishing quite a bit here, being in the aggressive jungle.
Yeah, I mean, you really take a look at that lock once again and say, did they give them Wild Soul, knowing that Parasite would be able to get into the jungle and perhaps harry him to the point that his farm would be greatly diminished and that he wouldn't be as effective? And I think that's a real possibility. You know, MyNuts is a there's middle lane, there's the Bloodlust kill. Stalagmite's a little bit late, and that's just the Gust and the Healing Wave right there.
It's ridiculous. I mean, again, you know, you made the comment, if you are going to play Dimension Shaman support, pairing him up with at least somebody like a Zephyr, okay, that works. And we're seeing the power of it here. I mean, it's pretty obvious when you theory craft it, but to see it in practice, it really is ridiculous. Just the power, the damage that comes out. And Handskin, it seems like he's been doing fairly well, but you can only do so well. I mean, you always have to be very worried about that Gust Heal Bomb combination, and sure enough, Bloodlust go for tdM.
Yeah, and with that, tdM taking a rather substantial lead in that middle lane. Limp on Zephyr, I mean, that's somebody you got to be fearful of no matter what. But when he's at 335 gold per minute, 4 minutes into the game, you got to be starting to get real scared of that. That is a hero that you give him an inch, he'll take a mile. And, well, giving him an inch and a half right there with a Bloodlust kill onto the opposing team's point player in the middle lane. Parasite being driven out of the jungle now, as Aluna actually doing a little bit of roam, trying to help protect Wild Soul. And that's not what you want your Aluna to have to do. You want her to be able to contend in the middle lane and help the Pebbles out, but now having to make her way into the jungle, tdM doing a great job though so far.
Yeah, again, definitely making good work of this really aggressive Parasite. Can't say I expected that, but MyNuts again on Parasite doing a very good job, and now even distracting Luna, as you put it, really getting her in the jungle. Meanwhile, at the bottom, like here with the Forest actually nearly dying right there, catching the tail end of that. Zai is going to go Invis, so he'll be fine when it's all said, and in fact, coming out of the Invis with an auto attack, playing very risky right there.
He is.
Of course, Wretched Act doesn't have enough mana for a Sonar Scream, and he probably knows that, but very risky play, but he will stay alive and just continue to farm in the meantime, so.
Yeah, and with that hatchet on the tower, he's just able to get so many last hits right there. He actually does hit 6 before the short lane Wretched Hag is. Double damage, Demented Shaman working on a Luna right here. There's the Emerald Lightning, a Gust though from Limp, and he says, oh, okay, I'll take that. It's mine. And with that, now 1-0-1. Farming to be climbing up even further, and Lions, they're starting to fall behind here 5 minutes in.
Yeah, this is a very scary team, as is in most cases. I mean, let's be honest, but you even brought up the point earlier, Limpo playing the Zephyr. He will snowball. He will get out of hand, and this is why teams like to pick him up nowadays, because of his potential to start to get out of hand earlier on, and then start to group up as a team surrounding him, really, and then just making it work. And you got this lineup. Now, it's not like they have an Ophelia on their team, so it's not like crazy mass heal potential, but you do have a Dimension Shaman who's bringing plenty with that. And then, of course, you know, in a sense, too, the Nature's Veil from Keeper of the Forest, some good tankiness, some regen there.
Oh, Bubbles going on Pharaoh up top. There's the Kelp Field. The Wrath of the Pharaoh in return, not even going to matter. KGE takes the kill on Noob G. So battle of the numbers and letters up there. But, well, Super KGE comes out on top.
Yeah, again, I just got the tail end of that as you're play-by-playing it. I mean, really, it's just Bubbles seemed to catch him off guard. Shell surfed in right there, and Pharaoh thought he was going to be fine. If he did have the Tormented Soul cooldown, that could have actually been a pretty epic turnaround, but I believe it's either on cooldown or he just didn't have enough mana for it, and in the end, gets the kill. Wild's in some trouble.
Yeah, he is. The root, though, maybe going to save him from Parasite. Ghost Marchers against no boots, though, and Wild's still in some trouble. Last auto attack going to be given to MyNuts, and there it is, even with the resummon on the bear. They could be in trouble now, though, as Hanskin's trying to get in position with Pebbles. No boots on him, though, and Demented Shaman getting earlier boots than your Pebbles will will be able to escape, and that's just something you never want to see.
Yeah, it's that really is unfortunate for Lion Esports Club. At the very least, really hoping to at least get one if not two kills right there in return. But playing sneaky, going around the secondary tower, and sure enough, get away. Now Luna may be in a little bit of trouble. You see Parasite is chasing, not level 6 just yet. We'll have that leech though, which he has level 3 up. But however, it's going to turn around, maybe expecting that she has help nearby. So not going to go for the chase. But again, we're looking at a 3-to-1 hero kill advantage. The stats definitely say it all right now in favor of Trademark Esports all across the board. The only really positive news, I guess there's a cop, is there's a couple, wow. There's a couple of positives. You do have Wretched Hag, who's actually at 317 GPM. And then you have Bubbles, who's just sitting at that 300 GPM mark. So good news for them right there, but it's going to start getting ugly in terms of just grouping up a push here in favor of tdM. So we'll see what Lion can do to stop that.
Yeah, and it could get real ugly in this bottom lane as Wretched Hag kind of getting stalked right now. Demented Shaman in position. And Keeper of the Forest does have that root available. Of course, that is only a level 2 root, or excuse me, 2 seconds at level 1 on that root. So they're going to have to make quick work of the Hag. There's the blink, though, and she might be running directly into the Minotaur. There's the stun, and Wretched Hag's in some trouble. The root comes out as well. The face hug finishes her off, and down goes Flensmeister. In the middle lane, though, Hanskin going down to a solo Zephyr. Aluna was even in the vicinity and wasn't able to prevent that one from coming out.
Well, again, the Typhoon, you have a Zephyr that's, what, level 7 now, easily able to just drop Pebbles right there, as well as what happened at the bottom lane. I mean, the root coming out from Zai was a little bit of overkill. She had just blinked, and so it was obviously on cooldown even for another 5 seconds when she died right there. So, not too sure about that root, but it also at the same time, you know, it really kept her in place from even running away, and ultimately, you know, just secure the kill.
Demented Shaman just walking right into the Pebbles combo there. Insadia?
he feels bad for them. He's like, you know what? We're getting some good kills here. Go ahead and take one from us. I'm not sure what that was about.
Yeah, I mean, Zephyr was going around the side. He wanted to be able to get in there and start putting out the pressure onto Pebbles. Hopefully be able to get a kill right there, but instead just walked right into the tower without creep support and got comboed down by Pebbles. No problem. Parasite tried to set up a gank here in the middle lane. He's unfortunately standing directly on top of a ward of sight, so the Legion team acutely aware that he's there and the possible gank is there, but not going to happen just yet as Wild Soul, he might have been the target next. He's still down about 200 gold per minute and just really not able to recover so far from this early harassment.
Yeah, again, just across the board, not looking the greatest right now for Lion Esports Club. You do have your Wretched Hag and your Bubbles, even despite that death, you know, not doing shabby, but it's more so how Trademark Esports looks, and again, with just their lineup potential. The fact it's even a little bit of a lead here, and actually it is pretty I mean, you're up 3,600 and 2,100 experience, not even 10 minutes into the game, so that in itself is pretty significant. But again, you have this lineup that's going to be able to just group up, going to be able to start pushing in towers here in the near future, and the likelihood of being able to stop that, it's going to be very slim. Now, they do have great creep clearing potential here. You got your Bubbles, your Hag, your Aluna, who, again, they first picked out of the lock pool, remember? So maybe that's where the shining hope is, but it's looking pretty ugly, and tdM seems to be in fairly decent control here early on in this game.
Yeah, they certainly are. As Pebbles used to the combo in the middle lane, Zephyr just says, I don't care at all, and gusts him in. Doesn't exactly take a whole lot of damage there with the Helm of the Black Legion, a total of 1,100 HP.
Yeah.
So, Limp just doing his thing, continuing to farm very well. 65 and 26 is his creep score, and he is the top farmer in the game at 391 gold per minute. Number 2 in that position actually goes to the Suicide Keeper of the Forest. You know, I just actually put out a couple days ago a press release inviting tdM as the second team invited to the Sound Blaster Heroes League. And
shocker.
Yeah, there you go. And in there, you know, I wrote that Zai has this uncanny ability to find farm in any situation, no matter the matchup in that suicide role. And this just demonstrates it right here. Hang, probably not the perfect matchup against Keeper of the Forest, but for your Keeper to be farming 315 gold per minute in the suicide lane, any team would be ecstatic to have that go on with that position.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do think this game is a little bit more... It's a little bit better than what Zai is used to, because again, you not only is he playing Keeper in a Wretched Hag matchup, which isn't that bad, but he did have Parasite and the aggressive jungle. We do have Pebbles actually going out in the middle lane in the meantime, a big tower dive coming out.
Wrap the Pharaoh up top, yeah. Bubbles goes down as well. So tdM picking up a couple more kills, extending their hero lead up to 7 as opposed to 2, so 5 hero kills in favor as Luna's in some trouble. One more auto attack will finish her off. Zephyr will just walk on up there, and Limp gonna grab the ultimate warrior streak with that kill, so he's breaking the 450 gold per minute barrier with that tower kill and 2 hero kills. It's getting real out of hand.
It is, but again, I mean, just real quick, going back to the Zai, again, I think that this is a little bit more favorable than what he's used to, but at the same time, still, it is impressive. I mean, 322 gold per minute. But yeah, I mean, what just happened right there was just simply a case of, as expected, Trademark eSports just taking advantage of their levels and their items. They didn't necessarily do anything too flashy right there, nothing too skillful. It was just a case, let's just take advantage of that and then get a couple of kills here.
There's the sonar scream. No Bat Blast just yet. Actually, there's the Bat Blast. Finishes it off, Keeper of the Forest. Invisible Demented Shaman came so close to dying just from AoE damage. He was at 80% life going into that in Invis.
Yeah, that was Insania nearly getting caught out right there. But in the end, at least he lives. But so again, a solid kill, no doubt, for Lion Esports Club. But as long as you have your Pebbles, who's still continuing to struggle, this really is just going to be a hero that he's not going to really bring much to you in this game at this point, and if ever. I mean, even if they do somewhat recover, the fact that he's got off to this horrible, slow start, Pebbles is a hero that you need, of course, as we stress all the time, that great start for him to have the ultimate impact, so.
Yeah, who needs Tralf when you got Breaky here to say it? Just got to get that farm on the initiation heroes. And, well, bottom lane, there goes Insania. Super KGE actually helping to get the kill. Root goes out onto Wretched Hag. Auto attacks coming in, but no! A huge blink. The disjoint onto the face hug. There's an Emerald Lightning as well. And they're going to try to turn it around, perhaps. Wild Soul getting into the thick of things. Will be taking the Shell Surf right there, but Parasite has to fall back, as will Bubbles. The entire Legion team going to fall back, actually. Good response, though. Get the kill onto Insania and keep everybody alive.
Yeah, you know, something I'm actually just noticing, though, kind of just didn't even have to do with that fight, but look at Wild Soul. He actually went Alchemist Bones here in this game. He has another 1,700 gold saved up, but he doesn't have any boots on either himself or the bear. I mean, that itself is a little bit risky, but I don't know. That feels like, to me, that's...
I know what you're trying to say.
If you were ahead, yeah, if this, if anything, was an even game, then okay, you know, taking that risk to try to just get even further ahead and kind of catch them off guard, I guess, but I'm not a fan of it. I just don't really understand the Alchemist Bones first here for Krebson.
Yeah, you already know that you're probably going to be getting pushed pretty aggressively, and that is an item that's not going to help you in the least in that capacity. One item that will help you a lot is a Mock of Brilliance. Being able to have that Radiant Spur and the 40 damage per second on that, and also, of course, just making your bear more formidable. It's in the middle lane. Wild Soul is going to be in some trouble here. Limp will get the kill, and that's a legendary streak for him. And he's getting real close to 600 gold per minute. Wretched Hag takes the face hug. There's the entangle, or excuse me, the healing wave. But no, she blinks away for now. Is she going to escape? Oh my gosh.
Looks like it.
Wow. Well,
Lensmeister, big plays.
There you go. Able to get the Flash of Darkness just in time and able to escape. So well done to him.
Yeah, the more I'm thinking about this Wild Soul, I don't know. It is a case, again, you're right. I mean, a Mock of Brilliance, no doubt, would be effective, as it really always is in a Wild Soul. But he, just like this whole team as a whole, really has just been struggling. They've been behind for most of it. We do have Bubbles in the meantime in the middle lane. Song of the Sea is going to go out. Kelfield trying to save himself. He's going to have to take cover right there, but he doesn't have the Shell Surf up just yet. It might be enough, however. 2 seconds left. One more second. There's the Shell Surf. There's the port out. And he actually will survive in the end. But
Parasite. Well, there's a combo into Parasite. Parasite's going to be the one going down. So great reaction there. Oh, and a nice dodge on the Tormented Soul as well. We'll see if another one might be aiming toward the fountain, but no, not going to be coming out just yet. And in the end, Super KGE will survive. And Parasite, Minot's the one to actually take the fall there.
Yeah, we are having a good amount of action in this game. That is a good thing here. 9 to 5 hero kills and a lot of decent fights coming out. But again, it may just simply be a case of Wilds almost felt like he is not going to be able to get that Mock of Brilliance as soon as possible. So he really just wanted to go the Alchemist Bones route and then try to help him from there on out. But again, I don't even know if that makes sense. You might as well just still try to get that Mock of Brilliance as much as possible, because then when you do get it, it obviously will be very useful against what is this Hellborn team here. But going the Alchemy Bones first. He does have another 2,100 gold saved up, but the GPM isn't the most impressive especially for having the Alchemist Bones. I mean, dying twice, though, and again, with the struggling start, especially with Parasite being in that jungle and Hellborn team starting to get aggressive early on, it is understandable. So I think it's just overall just a very kind of a shitty situation for him to be in, and he's just trying to make the best of it, but...
Yeah, and well, speaking of perhaps a less than fortunate situation, top tower does go down. That's the last remaining first-tier tower. With that, tdM going to take some more map control and start looking at some tier 2 towers, as Zephyr's already pushed up pretty far in this middle lane. But speaking of the gold that WildSoul saved up already, if he had gone straight Mach, he would have been, I believe that he would now be 300 gold away.
Well, again, you got to be careful with that, because with the Alchemist Bones, it does actually provide you the gold boost and whatnot. But yeah, at the same time, yeah, you can look at it like that. He may have had it within the next like 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 4 minutes or so, depending if he didn't die. Yeah, or maybe didn't die more. But yeah, it is kind of like a tough thing to really look at there, but.
It's an unexact science, but I'm confident enough in it. Zephyr picks up a Helm of the Black Legion and then a Soul's Bulwark, as he does take the kelp field in the middle lane. We'll see what the follow-up is. There's the Song of the Sea, gonna break the kelp field. Stalagmites coming in as well. Facehug and the Leech onto Bubbles. He's in some trouble. There's the Wrath of the Pharaoh, and Bubbles in some serious trouble. Backblast onto 2 players. Zephyr's still alive, though. Gonna turn it around. Pebbles takes the fall, and... they all just die.
That's where you go. All right, GG. Yeah. Zephyr just got way too far. He's just too big. Again, this is just the power, though, specifically Zephyr. But you surround him with the team that I think they have. Even with the great jump right there, you didn't even get close to. I mean, he's still like a good third of his life right there before they started turning it around like they did. It's just ridiculous, and I don't see it getting much better here for Lions here on out, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to be able to do at this point. Down 14,000 gold, 11,000 experience, and being pushed into their base here at 19 minutes in. No Mach on WildSoul and Pebbles. I mean, we talked about their anti-push potential, but when your heroes are level 5 on your Luna, when your Wretched Hag doesn't really have much in the way of items, I mean, where is your potential for a team fight here? And I just don't think it's going to be strong enough, as the tdM team just continues to put pressure onto these racks. Tormented Soul cleaning up creeps, and the Lions team cleaning them up as soon as they can. There's the Gust onto Pebbles. No follow-up, as the melee racks just continues to take more and more damage.
Yeah, it's, again, they're just waiting for the right time. In fact, maybe they see it right here, but the counter initiation coming out with Wrath of the Pharaoh. Down goes Pebbles right there. Blink away from Wretched Hag, but it's just too much. The Demented Shaman especially being here, the constant heals and Nature's Veil being applied all over the place, and even an Energizer going off right there, who of course Parasite has that. So they got what they came for. They got the melee racks, they got the kills, and they're getting on out of there. So Lions, again, they are going to hang in here, it looks like, to hope for a good situation to come out of this. But 17,000, 12,000 experience, only 20 minutes into this game. It's very, very, very big lead here for a Trademark. So
we talk about leads and oftentimes saying it's not insurmountable. This is not one of those cases. This is definitely an insurmountable lead here for Lions. If they were able to make this comeback, I would be thoroughly impressed.
Oh yeah, this would be very, very impressive. But again, it's just, I mean, I understand why the Lions is trying to hang in there. They want to at least get, say, the Mach and Wild. So maybe even you're not. Wow, Pebbles is nowhere near Portal Key. I mean, he has 5 deaths. He's sitting on Steam Boost Power Supply bottle. I mean, so he has the build up, but he has just not been able to get
in the bottom lane. There's the face hug, the leech, the gust comes out as well. Bubbles is getting support. There's the kelp field onto 2, and nice dodge on the stalagmites. Bubbles will be able to get out of there using the Song of the Sea. The Typhoon goes down on top of Zephyr though, and he is going to be able to just walk away. Minut's in that catapult just did a fantastic job of actually dodging the kelp field and the stalagmites. So very, very well played to him.
Again, though, at the same time, you see Limp right there. The reaction came out from Lion, and Limp just kind of like, oh, that tickles a little bit. All right, I'll run away, because they just can't really do anywhere near enough damage to be a threat to him. And you look at the items. So, obviously, Zephyr, he's big. He's got now a Frostburn finished on top of everything else. That is huge. You have your Parasite, though, the Astrolabe, the Energizer to support his items. You have a Pharaoh, who has a Helmet of the Black Legion, and 3,500 gold pulled up. And then you have, oh, look at that, a Keeper of the Forest. He's like, WildSoul, you still looking to get your Mach? I'm going to go ahead and get my Mach of Brilliance here.
Jeez.
And that's definitely a case of tdM feeling pretty confident that they have a victory here. as Zai go on the Mock of Brilliance even. So.
Yeah, and with that Mock of Brilliance, maybe even more of a taunting item. I mean, this is a best of 3 in series. It definitely becomes a mental game. You gotta wonder, I mean, talking with Swindle last weekend, he gave up a game at 23 minutes in, and he said that once his team feels like they've lost, they've already lost. That it does more damage mentally to stay in a game that they think they've lost than it would be to just go into game 2 and try again. And that could be the situation here for Lions. I mean, they're putting their head against a brick wall right now, and that brick wall is named Zephyr. And Limp is going to go in right there. There's the chuck. Kelfield going to be coming out onto 2. Down goes Pebbles, though. Batblast going to hit 3 players. Isn't going to matter. Shell Surf goes out. The Root going to catch Bubbles, and Bubbles definitely in some trouble. He's going to use the push stick and is able to get away for now. Wretched Hag, no! There's the Gust, and Bubbles will go down. There's the face hug onto Wretched Hag. She goes down as well, not even able to use that Hellflower. The ranged Brax already going to be going down as well. And tdM looks like they're well on their way to a victory here in game number 1. Barring any of them jumping into the fountain 2, 3, 4 times in a row, I think this game is pretty much over, and we're just waiting for Lions to compose themselves and type the GGs.
Yeah, you made a great point going into that fight, and it makes me even a little bit more curious as to why Lions isn't honestly just conceding here. It really can just do even more damage to you to just not concede a game like this, and to just take it, because again, certain teams this may not be every team. I know from my point of view, though, and it's fair to say for a decent amount of teams, the frustration can get big, and they start arguments with one another. Oh no, this happened here. No, we should have done this. Blah blah blah. Rather than just, saying GG, we lost the game, let's go ahead and concede, let's move on to the second game. It is a best of 3 for a reason.
Oh, there's the rest of the Pharaoh. And nothing else going to come out. Flagmite's completely missing right there. Typhoon on top of Pebbles. HoN's getting some serious trouble. He's the first to fall. Wretched Hack grabs the next, takes the entangling root, but will be able to get in. The Gust out of Luna just disintegrates. 5-man Kelpfield. There goes the Shell Surf as well. tdM team not looking to tower the well dive just yet. Just kidding. And defeat comes out right there, but they're still in the middle of a green triangle being used as Wretched Hag taking a lot of pressure. Zephyr able to just turn it around. Wild Soul goes down, but that's the game. The GGs have come out, and tdM takes game number 1 in this series. Yeah,
and I know we were harping on Krebson a little bit right there for good reason. I mean, he definitely did go a very... I don't want to even say unique, because, Alchemist Bone's a Wild Soul. It's not like the most odd thing ever, but it just didn't make sense to me. But at the same time, again, you had a Pebbles. He got 0 farm, really understandable, because in a Demented Shaman Zephyr lane, it was very, very difficult. They just were not able to deal with that. And on top of that all, again, you remember how the lockpicking went. From the first pick, the Aluna, but the funny thing is, I was even expecting them to maybe even go that Wild Soul first pick. They still ended up getting the Wild Soul, sure enough, with their final pick. So I think Lions, they did have a solid lineup, but Trademark eSports lineup, they had powerful lanes themselves, and they just played it definitely better there. So Trademark deserving of the win, and we'll see what happens in game 2.
Yeah, we certainly will. Lions... Well, they're facing elimination right now, just 1 game away from not dropping into the losers bracket, because they are already there currently in the round of 4. But they're going to need to bring this back and even up the series, take it to game 3 if they do not want to be knocked out of Diamond right here, right now. Of course, already qualifying for Diamond next season, but this cycle's Diamond would end for them if they were to lose the next game. So, guys, we'll be right back with that game number 2. Going to take a quick break while we get that one set up. This has been coLcast HoN Tour Live, lower bracket, round of 4. For cycle number 3, there's a lot of designations.
Yeah,
for
a lot
Tour.
of long title.
Game number 2. There's lots of numbers and stuff, but we'll be right back with coLcast, Breaky, and Beef. Huge shout out to Complexity as well as S2 for allowing us to be here today. S2 for making HoN Tour happen. Breaky for yourself being here. Do you have any shout outs that you want to make after?
Just the people tuning in for this HoN Tour cast that randomly came up. Shout out to you guys, and shout out to my mother. Never gonna do that.
There you go. Shout out to your mom. You know what? Shout out to my mom. I think she might be tuning in. Sometimes she'll call me and she'll say, "Hey Kyle, you had a really bad cast right there," and I'm like, "Wow,
she'll critique
wow,
you.
Thanks, mom. You don't even know what's going on in the game." But
they do that out of love, though. They do that out of love.
All right, guys. Huge shout out to S2 and Complexity for allowing this to happen. Check out Complexity Gaming at complexitygaming.com. Going to be posting a new HoN weekly breakdown there tonight, and of course to the sponsors: Sound Blaster, Origin, QPad, PNY, G8 brand, Twitch. And guys, we'll be right back with game number 2 in the series. Don't go anywhere. coLcast with Breaky and Beef.